Thank you for being here today and welcome to our wellness video. I'm here in recognition that everything that is happening around us can have an impact on our well being. The climate that we're in, the anti immigrant rhetoric, and attacks on the communities we serve can be exhausting and draining. We could be feeling depressed, anxious, nervous, or fearful about the future. And you're working very hard to work towards your dreams to achieve that education. And we want you to continue. We want you to succeed. So I'm here to provide some wellness strategies to cope in today's time. So we don't only just survive, but we thrive even during these times. I am Cheryl Aguilar, and I'm a social worker and also a therapist at the Hope Center for Wellness. And the Hope Center is also a proud community partner of TheDream.Us. In today's video, I'm going to share with you some practical ideas to cope during these times. We're going to connect with our truest selves and our strength, and I'm going to give you some ideas for navigating resources in your community. I'm going to show you some slides of things that I want you to remember, or things that I want you to look at on the screen, but you can also follow along just by listening. Even though today I'm going to give you some wellness ideas, this video does not replace the need to go to a mental health therapist when you need to. And I'm going to share with you some signs of when we can connect with a mental health therapist. So let's get ready, get comfortable. We're going to begin with a grounding exercise to come to a point of balance, to connect with who we truly are. Allow your eyes to close if it feels comfortable in this moment, or keep them open, finding an area to gaze at. Invite your first inhale and exhale, breathing in through your nose and breathing out. Following your breath from beginning to end. Breathing in slowly and breathing out slowly. Doing it at your own rhythm. And through each breath, allow your body to relax more and more. Breathing in slowly through your nose and breathing out. Allowing the calm of this moment to take all over your body. If your mind is like mine, that likes to think, wonder, and worry, just notice what is happening and come back to your breath. We're not rejecting our thoughts, we're just choosing to focus on something else in this moment. Continue breathing, allowing the goodness of your breath to spread all throughout your body. Notice how you feel in this moment. Breathe in and out, thanking yourself for being here. Wellness will be an act of resistance. We're worthy of joy. We're worthy of being well. Continue breathing, inhaling and exhaling through your nose, finding your own rhythm, knowing that in this moment, right now, you are safe. Maybe you notice sounds where you're in, or smells, or the temperature in the room. Maybe it's cold or slightly warm. Come back to your breath, knowing that this inner resource is here to fuel you with peace, calm, self love, and strength. Let's take in a few deep breaths. And at the sound of my bell, allow your eyes to open very, very, very slowly. Before we move on fast, I want you to take a pause and just notice what you experience, how your body feels, how your mind feels, and how your heart feels. Sometimes we go really fast and we feel like we don't have the luxury to slow down. But the more that we slow down in these moments, the more we gift our nervous system a chance to come back to a place of calm, to a place of strength, to a place of capability and capacity. When we're feeling anxious, stressed, or fearful, our nervous system or bodies can react in different ways. We can experience something like the 4 F's of stress and trauma response. Typically, we've heard the fight and flight and freeze response, and today I'm going to introduce you to another response. So, when we feel unsafe, whether due to policies that threaten our security because of racism or uncertainty about the future, our brain and body react. Some of us fight, we push back, advocate, resist. Others may flee, we disconnect, avoid the news, retreat into ourselves. Some people may freeze, feeling stuck, unable to make decisions, unsure what to do next. And some may fawn, seeking approval or over accommodating, trying to blend in to avoid being seen or being seen as othered. These responses are normal upon something that feels really abnormal. When we hear the news, we're constantly hearing attacks on our communities, on our families, on ourselves. It's normal that the body thinks that we are under attack and is going to respond in these ways to protect us from harm. These responses are how our nervous system tries to protect us. But over time, they can take a toll. Constant stress can lead to burnout, anxiety, depression, and a deep, deep sense of isolation. So, what do we do? First, we're going to name each of these responses and we're going to name something that we can do to undo it. So, when we're on the fight response, we can feel like a sense of urgency to want to get things right. We may become verbally or physically aggressive. And on the other side, we saw how the fight response can also manifest in wanting to do things. We may join a rally, we may sign a petition, we may do something to take action. Then there's the flight response, where we feel like we want to leave, we want to avoid the situation. We want to remove ourselves from something that is physically and mentally draining. Or we may freeze. We may feel shut down, unable to do things. Can't get to the work that we need to do, can't meet the deadlines that we need to meet, can't get started with our homeworks. And fawn, we may overly accommodate, or we may say yes to things that we don't really want to do. Whenever we feel these responses, we're going to do a few things. For all of them, you can take a few deep breaths like we did in the very beginning, and these help us kind of regulate our system again. When we're on the fight response, we're gonna deep breathe, or we're gonna call it regulate, and we're gonna redirect. We're gonna pause before reacting, take a few deep breaths. Sometimes we say count until 10 or 100 if you need to, or do something else. The doing something else is we're redirecting. We're gonna channel our energy into something else, another activity. So if we're watching the news and that is sending our alarm system into wake up, like we got to do something, we're going to channel that energy into something else. Find a new activity, come back to your homework, come back to something that you can feel really useful in. And we're also going to channel our energy into physical movement. We're going to exercise, we're going to walk, we're going to bring in music or something to like get our body moving and get our emotions out. When we experience a flight response, when we want to avoid or do things, we're going to do something called five senses grounding. I kind of incorporated a little bit of that in the very beginning, but we're going to do five senses grounding. And what is that? We're going to use our five senses to come back to the present moment. We're going to name five things that we see, name four things that we can touch, name three things that we can hear, name two things that we can smell, and we're going to lastly taste one thing. So let's do it right now. So at this time, I want you to look around the room that you're in, and I want you to notice five things that you see. You can notice colors, sizes, dimensions, and you can just say it in your mind. Right now, I'm seeing a mirror, a plant, toys, a pink couch. Now we're gonna name four things that we can touch. We can touch our hands, our fingers. You can just notice the sensation of that. I can touch my plant that I have next to me. You can notice textures. After you've touched four things, we're going to name three things that we can hear, three sounds, whether they're in your room or the area that you're in, or they're coming outside from the outside of where you are, or even sounds from our own body. Find three. We're going to name two things that we can smell. Maybe someone's cooking, or you can smell a nice scent. And if you have water or a drink or something to taste, we're going to take a sip or chew on it. And if not, just notice lingering taste in your mouth. Or maybe you can mildly lick your lips. I can taste my chapstick right now. Those are five senses grounding. And when you do it, you may do it quicker. I see a pillow, I see a plant, I smell, and then you're going to do it quickly, and you're going to go through each round. Another way to get engaged is to reconnect in setting small goals while you're in difficult situations. Sometimes when the fight, flight, freeze, fawn response is activated, we want to get from here to goal to the last goal or goal Z. And sometimes we need to incorporate small goals into our routines. So, what does that look like? Who can I talk to today? What kind of information do I need? Who can I reach out to see how they're doing? So, those are small goals that we can incorporate. For the freeze response, we're going to deep breathe again. We're going to move and re engage. We're going to try body movements, all kinds, from stretching to shaking your arms, to moving, to walking, whatever it is that you can do to kind of come out of that shutdown state. Roll around if you want to, do something. I'm going to remind ourselves, I am safe in this moment. In this moment, I am safe. I am in my office. You may be in your room or somewhere else. For the phone response, we're going to notice when we're people pleasing or we're pleasing to kind of blend in or to not have a negative reaction if we say no. We're going to practice saying no to small situations, and we can practice saying no with the people that are kind to us, who are not going to take no badly. The more we practice saying no in situations we feel safe, the easier it gets. We're going to reflect and ask ourselves, am I accommodating because I want to or because I feel like I have to? And we're going to ask ourselves, if I say yes to this thing, whatever you're being asked to do, what am I saying no to for myself? And of course, this is not in situations where you have to submit your homework or submit a project for work or anything else. But this is in situations where you may notice a pattern or something about pleasing because you're afraid of the consequences. Over time, too much stress can have a really negative impact on our bodies. If you're watching this video, you can bring your attention to the video and just see what you notice when you see this image of the stress response in your body. You may experience under stress that you're not able to swish the switch button off, and you just think and worry uncontrollably. Your heart beats faster and harder. Your muscles may tense up. You may have tummy issues. You're breathing quicker than before. And long term has also a negative impact. We may experience tension headaches or migraines. We can experience heart problems. We can experience trouble with hyperventilation and panic attacks. We can experience serious health conditions like type 2 diabetes. And some people may even experience fertility challenges. So the more that we can notice our stress response, how does it show up in my body? How does it show up in my mind? How does it show up in my moods or my behaviors? The more we can do something about it. So we're going to notice, when am I breathing faster? When is my heart beating faster? And we're going to bring in the regulation response that we practice, deep breath, and other things that we are going to do together. Too much of this can also lead to burnout. And burnout is experienced like extreme exhaustion. And some people are like, but I sleep enough or I take naps and I still feel really negative. Because burnout is more than just exhaustion. It has a whole bunch of other symptoms. We can feel a lack of motivation. If we were excited about our studies, we may not feel motivated anymore. We may even feel like a sense of cynicism about it, about our studies. We may feel tired or drained, have difficult concentrating, can have frequent somatic symptoms like headaches. We see decreased performance in all the things that we do. We are more irritable. We see increased irritability. We can become withdrawn of social activities or family or friends. We may want to be by ourselves. And we can experience a whole bunch of other things related to our body in the way that we feel and the way that we think. So for being able to undo all these responses, we're going to practice nurturing the different dimensions of wellness. We're going to nurture our mind, we're going to nurture our heart, and we're going to nurture our body, not on the weekends, not on vacation, not during school break, but every single day. The more we incorporate what I call sprinkling self-care throughout the day, the more automatic those moments become. And they don't have to be like an hour long if you don't have that much time, but they can be small moments that you incorporate throughout your day. So, a few of those dimensions are emotional wellness, spiritual wellness, physical wellness, and community wellness. Emotional wellness has to do with recognizing our emotions without judgment. The more we name them, the more we name our emotions, the less intense they can feel. We call this name them to tame them. I am mad. I am sad. I am anxious. And we can either say that out loud, write it out in a journal, tell it to a friend that we trust, tell it to someone that we trust, but not keep it inside. But the non-judgment element is really key because sometimes we feel like there's something wrong with us for feeling these emotions. We want to validate and normalize these emotions, and we're going to be kind to them as you would be if you had a crying baby or child in front of you. We will be kind to that crying baby and child. So you can think about those emotions as something that is hurting that needs attention. Our physical wellness has to do with everything regarding our body, from movement to resting to nutrition. Our spiritual wellness is our connection with something outside of ourselves, spirituality, religion, the universe, or anything that you believe in. And community wellness is being able to do things in community that you love. Being in community has shown that decreases a sense of isolation, increases a sense of belonging, decreases symptoms of trauma, and increases just an overall sense of togetherness and capacity and capability. So we're going to be not isolated. We're going to be connected, whether in person or virtually, with those that we care about and that we trust. So, what do we do in this moment? When we're feeling stressed and you don't have access to a therapist, or you don't have access to someone to talk to, we're going to practice this in the moment wellness strategies. Let's do box breathing. It's another way of breathing. And if your mind is really kind of thinking a lot, like mine does, we call it monkey in the head. If it's like a monkey jumping everywhere, box breathing can be really helpful because it's really structured. So let's do box breathing. We're going to inhale to the count of 4. Hold that breath to a count of 4. And exhale to a count of 4. Inhale to a count of 4. Exhale. Hold to a count of 4. Exhale to a count of 4. Inhale to a count of 4. Exhale to a count of 4. I said it wrong. Inhale to a count of 4. Hold to a count of 4. And exhale to a count of 4. Let's do it one more time, this time on your own. Great. We're also going to take what is called a body scan, which is reconnecting with our body. It's a journey through our body to just connect to what we're experiencing. Too often we flee our body because whatever we may experience in the body can also feel like too much. Allow your eyes to close if it feels right to you, or keep them open. We're going to breathe in and out through our nose at your own rhythm. Now we're going to bring our attention to the top of our head and just notice it. We're going to bring our attention to our face. Notice whether it's relaxed or tensed. If it's tense, allow it to soften. Notice your next breath and the tip of your nose. Bring your attention to your shoulders and notice how they feel. This is where most of us carry stress. And allow your shoulders to soften and imagine any stress in your shoulders melting away. Bring your attention to your arms. Bring your attention to your tummy area and notice its movement in the next breath. Bring your attention to your legs. Bring your attention to your feet and just notice them. Notice them planted on the ground or the floor, or lingering if they are, just kind of floating in your bed or wherever you may be, or your chair. And come back to your breath. Whenever we feel disconnected, we may come back to our body. And we're not going to be alarmed by what we find. If we find stress somewhere, we're going to just imagine breathing in deep breath into that area. I'm noticing my shoulder, breathing into it. And we're not going to be afraid. And we're just going to become curious about what we experience in the body. I'm tense. That feels funny. And we're going to imagine that area softening. So you can do body scans whenever you need to, whether with your eyes open or closed. And whenever you need to, can be on your way to work, or on your way to school. Even when you're in class, if you're feeling your mind is distracted, like just come back to a part of your body quickly and just notice what you notice, and then come back and bring your attention to your professor, to your teacher. Oftentimes, when our emotions cannot speak, we experience them in our body. So we're going to get into the habit of stretching, moving the body, and we're going to do something while we're sitting or while I'm sitting. You can be sitting or standing. I'm not quite sure you can do it while you're laying down if you're laying down. But we're going to move our arms outward towards our side. We're going to slowly bring them both up until our palms touch. And we're going to have them touch and stretch ourselves a little bit as if we were trying to reach the sky or the ceiling. And now we're going to make a movement towards our right. Just moving our arms a little bit. Come back to the middle. Move to the left a little bit. Try to keep your back still. Come back to the center. Now move to the right. Come back to the center. And we can even shake out our arms. Once you bring them down, you can bring them down in this moment and just shake them out. And if you're standing up, you can just shake out your whole body. I'm going to get into the habit of allowing our emotions to release from our body. And one of my very favorites, because I am actually seeing this in the current moment through some research that I'm doing, is we're going to build affirmations. We're going to create affirmations, which are positive statements about ourselves that are going to help us challenge some thinking that we're experiencing. And it's going to reinforce our strength and our well-being and our goals. Think of them as mental exercises, just like we train our bodies through physical workouts, we can train our minds with affirmations. These affirmations, the more that we recite them, the more we can rewire the brain. Our brains adapt based on repeated thoughts and behaviors. Studies show that regularly practicing affirmations can strengthen neural pathways associated with positive thinking, making optimism and self-compassion even more natural over time. So in this moment, I want you to think about something about yourself you know to be true, a strength, a quality. Maybe this statement can be something about hope. Maybe the statement can be something about something you wish to do. I have an example of one here. I am capable, resilient, and worthy of success. So let's take a few seconds to create an affirmation. We're going to create one together, and then you're going to create a few more for yourself. Think about how amazing you are, how other people see you. This is not a time to be shy. Write it out on your phone or a piece of paper, or just keep it in your mind. We're going to come back to these affirmations every single day. You can either recite them in the morning, weave them in throughout the day whenever you need them, or just say them just because. And the more you do it, the more natural they become. In a study that I'm currently doing, I found that most of the people that practiced affirmations had less depression and less anxiety than those who didn't practice them. Okay, so we're going to get really good at affirmations. So, what are other things that we're going to do in this moment? Not just in this moment and beyond this moment that we're in. We're going to focus on the things that are within our control. Right now, we may feel like there's so much that is outside of our control, but there's still a lot that is within your control. Redirect your energy to those things. Talking to a friend, showing up to school, being in this video or listening to this video, those are things within our control. Finding information that you need, making a plan, those are things within your control. We're going to reframe challenges or be curious about challenges and kind of notice what they're teaching us. And I'm not saying they're teaching us a lesson. We don't want people to feel like harm is something to learn from, but there's something about yourself that you're learning during this time. Maybe you're learning that you're stronger than you think. Maybe you're learning that you're more resourceful than you think. Maybe you're learning that this has given us an opportunity to do something, be more involved in community, a whole bunch of things. So you're going to reframe the challenges as wonder about what is this teaching me, or what do I need to know in this moment. We're going to practice micro restoration practices, which are small, consistent habits to reset, like small little things that we can do to reset. Walks, listening to music, deep breathing, little things that we can do to ourselves. And then one of my favorites, we're going to anchor ourselves in the strength that comes from generation before us, our ancestors. I want you to think about those people in your lives who paved the way. They've endured struggles and survived in the best way that they could. Their strength is your strength. You come from a legacy of strength. And while the political landscape can feel unpredictable, you have the power in the way you care for yourself, in the way you connect with your community, in the way you show up to school, in the way you shape your own future. So whenever you feel down, bring an image or the name of someone within your family, within your community, whose strength you have within you. Boundaries. We're going to practice boundaries in many different ways. One is we're going to protect our emotional bandwidth, and we're going to protect our time. We're going to say no to the things that we're not able to do. That one's a harder one for many, especially if we come from collective communities. I come from a community that's very collective. We do things for one another, and saying no seems and it's really hard. We're going to separate our personal identity. We are who we are, we're worthy of, not because of an immigration status, not because of this, not because of that, because you're worthy already, because of who you are in the inside. So we're not going to overextend ourselves to doing more things that we have to. And sometimes when we're in the fight, flight, freeze response, we may feel like we want to do more. When we're under the stress response, we will feel like we want to do more. Because the more we do, the more protected we may feel. So we're going to just notice those things. We're going to take some boundaries, some information breaks. We have to be informed, but not all day, every day. We can have moments in the days where we tune into news, maybe not too late into the night, then that's going to impact your sleep. We're going to have moments throughout the day where you're informed and moments where you completely disconnect. We talked a little bit about things that we can do on our own, but there's also some amazing wellness apps out there. Here's four of them, but there's a whole bunch of other ones. These are some that I have tried out and I really like: Headspace, Mindshift, Calm, Breathe to Relax. Some of them have meditations, guided breathing exercises. Some of them help with anxiety, others with stress management. So just see what's out there. These are just a few. There's a whole bunch of other things out there. And the most important thing is that we're going to notice when we're no longer in our baseline, when our changes, there's changes in habits, there's changes in sleep, changes in appetite. When all those things have changed, we're going to notice that. We're going to notice if we're becoming more irritable, if there are changes in mood. We're going to notice if we're feeling more isolated or if we don't want to connect with other people. We're going to notice things that we typically wouldn't think about, thoughts that feel more negative, and it's not like typically you. If we're not able to control our worries or manage our worries, if we experience these things over a long extended period of time, those will be signals to talk to a mental health counselor. Where do we find one? First, if you're in school, go to your counseling services. Even if you don't have services there, even if you feel like they may not be able to meet your needs, they may have community referrals or know of other organizations within your community to connect you to. Talk to a primary care provider if you have one. They may be able to provide referrals. If you go to a church, I am partners with many churches and I get a lot of referrals from many churches. Talk to your church. If you're insured, look at the back, the number in the back of your card. There you can find a customer service number and they can connect you to someone. You can call 211 no matter where you are in the country to find a service near you, a community service near you. And there's many culturally affirming directories that we have on our website. We have a list of them through the hopecenterforwellness.com/resources. You can browse around some other strategies that we have in there and also ideas on how to navigate resources. The most important thing to remember is that you are not alone. You are not alone. Here's the information for where you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at hopecenterforwellness.com and our website, hopecenterforwellness.com. Sorry, Facebook and Instagram at Hope Center for Wellness without the .com. Great. So why don't we end as we started? We're going to take a deep breath to begin with, inhaling and exhaling through our nose. Whether you have your eyes open or closed, allowing everything that we just learned together to sink in, giving yourself much grace as you inhale and exhale for showing up, for being here. We are infinitely worthy. Our immigration status does not define us. As immigrants, you have inherent strength. Continue breathing, inhaling and exhaling. Allowing yourself to feel everything you're feeling in this moment. Breathing in slowly and breathing out. And I'll leave you with some words. We draw our strength from the very despair in which we have been forced to live. We shall endure. Cesar Chavez. We draw our strength from the very despair in which we have been forced to live. We shall endure. Cesar Chavez. And at the sound of my bell, allow your eyes to open very, 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 very slowly. Be well, and always with you in hope and solidarity.